In today's video, we will delve into a complex and often challenging topic, the silence of God and how it affects the lives of the chosen ones. We will explore why God sometimes seems silent, what that means for us, and how to find strength and hope in that space of quietude. Are you ready to discover how silence can be an opportunity for spiritual growth and self-discovery? Keep watching, and please share your own experiences of silence in your life in the comments. I look forward to hearing what you've lived through. If you believe this video can help someone, please share it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more inspiring content. Also, leave a comment letting us know where you're watching from so we can connect even more. Being chosen means carrying a light, a responsibility, but also a burden that many don't understand. Sometimes, it feels like walking through a desert where the only footprints we see are our own. It's in these moments that we yearn the most to hear God's voice, to feel His presence, to receive a sign, anything that reassures us He is there, listening. But what happens when all we encounter is silence? What do we do when it seems like the world is crumbling around us, and when we cry out, all we hear is the echo of our own words? The first reaction may be doubt. The heart questions, am I on the right path? Does God still see me? Has He abandoned me? This is an experience that many hesitate to share, as it feels strange, almost wrong, not to sense the divine presence at certain moments. I want you to know that this silence, which at times feels like an immense void, is not abandonment. This silence, as difficult as it may be, has a purpose. In fact, the silence of God can be one of the most profound ways He communicates with those He has chosen. It is a time for reflection, a moment when we are called to look inward and find strengths we didn't even know we had. Imagine being alone, without a divine voice to guide you or a sign to confirm your path. You feel your faith challenged, your heart heavy with doubt, yet there is a small flame that drives you to continue. This is the mystery of God's silence. He places us in a position of uncertainty so that we may seek answers within ourselves and mature our faith. Now that you've felt the weight of this silence and begun to realize it's not abandonment, let's try to understand what it truly means. Why does God, who has chosen us for a special purpose, sometimes decide not to respond? It seems contradictory, doesn't it? We are here to serve Him, to do His will. So why doesn't He show us the way clearly? Think of it this way: what if every time you prayed, you immediately received a response? Over time, your faith might transform into dependency, and you wouldn't be able to take a step without God holding your hand. True growth occurs when we learn to walk on our own. This silence is, in a sense, an invitation to explore the strength that is already within you, a strength that God placed in you when He chose you. Like a father teaching his child to ride a bicycle, he knows that at some point, he must let go so the child can discover their own strength and confidence. It is in this silence that you begin to uncover your own light, to reflect more deeply, and to notice the subtle signs that would go unnoticed if you were always waiting for a clear and direct voice. As you develop a deeper connection with yourself and with God, this bond goes beyond words. Remember, God does not choose us because we are perfect, but because He sees in us the potential to grow, to learn, and to become something greater. This silence, though it may seem like an absence, is actually a gift, a sacred space where our faith is refined and our purpose gains renewed strength. Consider the great men and women of the Bible. Each of them, at some point, faced this silence. Moses, for example, before becoming the leader of the Hebrew people, spent years in the desert, away from any divine voice, simply reflecting and searching within himself for the strength for his mission. David, before becoming king, experienced moments of persecution and solitude, uncertain of God's presence. Even Jesus spent 40 days in the desert, confronting temptations in profound silence. So, if you feel God's silence and seem to be walking alone, know that you are following in the footsteps of the great chosen ones, those who made powerful marks on the world. This silence is an invitation to strengthen your faith in a way that no direct answer could. Now that we understand a bit about silence, we need to discuss something essential to face it: faith. When it seems that God is silent, it is faith that sustains us. We're not talking about a faith bolstered by visible miracles or clear signs, but rather a deep, silent faith that persists even without a response or visible evidence. This is the faith of the chosen ones. When God remains silent, He challenges us to believe without seeing. This is the highest level of trust, which does not depend on external proof but comes from an inner certainty that God is with us, even when we cannot hear Him. This faith is transformative. It shapes us into people who live in full surrender. Many of us seek a faith that brings quick answers and immediate comfort, but the faith of the chosen is different. It is like a tree that needs deep roots to grow. And just as roots work in the silence and darkness of the earth, our faith strengthens in those moments when God seems distant, but is, in fact, closer than we imagine, watching every step, every decision, every thought. In this silence, we learn to value what we have within us, the strength, resilience, and wisdom that God has planted in our hearts. He has given us everything we need to face any situation, even without clear guidance or immediate answers. Here, the silence of God becomes training for our souls. He teaches us that true faith is not just believing when everything is clear, but trusting even in darkness and uncertainty. This faith is what distinguishes us, making us stronger, more resilient, and ready to face the challenges on the path of the chosen. If you are experiencing this silence now, feel challenged to trust. Believe, even without seeing or hearing, for this faith defines the true chosen ones. Moving forward, let's discuss an aspect that many view as an obstacle, but which can serve as a bridge to profound self-discovery: doubt. When God's silence lingers, doubt naturally arises. It fills the spaces left by the lack of response, prompting us to question whether we are truly chosen, whether God still walks with us, or if we are on the right path. For the chosen, doubt is a companion on the journey. It is in these moments that faith is tested and fundamental questions arise, helping us to understand who we really are and what we carry within us. Contrary to what many think, doubt is not a weakness, it is a sign that we are attentive, seeking, and not accepting everything blindly. Viewed with the right perspective, doubt can be an invitation to dive even deeper. The silence of God challenges us to look within and confront what we often ignore or are unaware of within ourselves. He knows us deeply, yet sometimes we still fail to understand who we truly are, our capabilities, and what we carry in our hearts. This divine silence is, in fact, an invitation to explore our inner selves and discover what God has already planted within us. Without external answers, we are compelled to dig deep in search of a peace that arises from within. In the silence, we realize that we do not need noise, confirmations, or a pre-made path, but rather the courage to face and accept who we are. This introspective process can be challenging, as it reveals parts of ourselves that we might prefer to keep hidden, such as fears, insecurities, and old limiting beliefs. However, by confronting these aspects, we find a genuine opportunity for healing, a chance to become whole. The silence of God acts as a mirror, revealing what we need to see and improve upon to move forward renewed and strengthened. Introspection also brings us a unique freedom, as we rediscover our essence and connect with the inner voice that God has placed within us. We find a faith that is independent of external circumstances. We come to understand that even in silence, He is present in every detail, in every part of us. During this process, you may discover something crucial. God wants you to find within yourself the confidence to move forward, to realize a faith that exists beyond answers, and to cultivate an unwavering inner peace. He wants you to feel that, as His chosen one, you are prepared for your journey. Therefore, embrace this inward dive. Do not fear what you may find, for it is in this deep exploration that you draw closer to God. In the silence, He invites you to discover your strength, the light that shines brightly within you and will never fade. Even without immediate answers, you can proceed with the assurance that He is always with you. As we come to understand the silence of God, there also arises the need to speak about the hope that develops in these moments. In many cases, our initial reaction may be discouragement. The feeling that everything is lost or that there is no way out is common in these moments of silence. However, it is precisely during these periods of apparent darkness that true hope can arise in unexpected ways. Hope is a powerful force, driving us to move forward even when what happens around us seems incomprehensible. And God's silence, as challenging as it may be, is fertile ground for nurturing that hope, an opportunity to believe that something greater is at work, even if we cannot see it yet. Each step taken in uncertainty brings us closer to something grand. Imagine a flower bud that undergoes an invisible transformation before blooming. We are like that, shaped and prepared in silence for what is to come. Although it is challenging, this is the moment when our faith and resilience are strengthened. Resilience is the ability to adapt and rise after difficulties, to believe when everything seems bleak. Therefore, God's silence can be seen as preparation for significant moments in our lives, where He builds within us a strength capable of facing future challenges. Each moment of silence becomes a training ground, teaching us to trust in our own strength and in God's promises. Moreover, when we learn to wait and trust in divine silence, we become examples of hope for others. Our ability to stand firm even in difficult times can inspire those around us to find faith and hope amid storms. So, if you find yourself in this silence now, take a deep breath and remember, it is in this space that hope is renewed. Use this time to cultivate a faith that withstands the test of time, that remains unshaken in the face of adversity, and a hope that shines even in the darkest nights. Life is made up of cycles, and silence is just a phase, a passage that leads us to a new chapter. In the end, when the sun shines again, you will realize that each moment of waiting, every unanswered prayer, and every tear shed were all part of a beautiful journey of growth. From this silence, you will emerge stronger, wiser, and closer to God than ever. Now let's reflect on a perhaps more subtle but profoundly powerful aspect, God's silence as a space for connection and intimacy. Often, in our search for answers, we feel like we are shouting into a desert with no one to hear us. However, silence can be an invitation to a deeper relationship with the divine. Our culture is so focused on quick answers and constant stimulation that we forget the importance of silence. By embracing it, we find the true essence of our relationship with God. In that silent space, we can free ourselves from external noise and connect more deeply with our own spirituality. Imagine a moment of meditation or silent prayer. Instead of just asking for or waiting for answers, you allow yourself to feel God's presence surrounding you. In this state of quiet, you open yourself to receive, to hear, and to perceive the small whispers of your heart, releasing the need for control and total understanding in favor of simply being in connection. This connection is essential for those who consider themselves chosen. When we seek God's presence in our silence, we create a space where we can hear our own hearts and attune ourselves to the divine voice. God's presence is not only manifested in great revelations or miracles, it also resides in the small moments of quietude, where we feel peace and love around us. This intimacy helps us understand that communication with God does not always have to be verbal. Often, the deepest prayers happen in silence, when we surrender to the sacred and receive the guidance we need, even if it does not come immediately. Silence is a fertile ground for meditation and reflection, allowing us to integrate our experiences and feelings into a cohesive whole. Thus, the silence of God is not merely the absence of answers, it is an opportunity to nurture a deeper relationship. It is a call to look within and understand that even when everything seems silent, God's presence is there, waiting for us to recognize it. Allow yourself to enjoy this silent space as an invitation to deepen your spirituality, to know yourself better, and, above all, to strengthen your connection with the Creator. In this silence, you will find not only answers but also a lasting peace that transcends human understanding. This is the true intimacy with God, a gift that can transform your life in ways you never imagined. It is crucial to understand that this journey is not meant to be solitary. It is a collective experience, a path where all of us, as the chosen ones, are interconnected. Each of us has a unique story, a lesson, and a light to share. Therefore, I invite you not only to accept the silence but to embrace it. Create moments in your routine where you can quiet yourself and listen. Meditate, pray, or simply be silent, allowing God's presence to manifest in your life. Share your experiences, doubts, and discoveries with the community. Let's build a space of support and encouragement where we can grow together. If you feel touched by this message, share it with friends and family who may also be facing moments of silence and doubt in their lives. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any updates, and leave your comment below. I want to know how the silence of God has impacted your life and what insights you've gained throughout this journey. Remember, you are not alone. Together, we will explore the mysteries of faith, purpose, and divine choice. And above all, know that even in silence, God is always listening and working in your favor. Your journey is just beginning.